Rebel with a Cause, Mark Twain's Hidden Memoirs, by Blackbird Crow Raven. Introduction by Blackbird Crow Raven. In early 2019, I was touring Stormfield, Mark Twain's last residence in Redding, Connecticut. Standing in what had been Twain's upstairs bedroom, I felt the floorboard beneath me give a little. This made me curious, but I betrayed no outward sign of that. After initially following the rest of the tour group out of the room, with a feigned nonchalance, I lagged behind the rest, took a place at the tail of that train, and then silently slipped back into the bedroom. Making sure that I was not being watched, I gently pried up the loose floorboard and discovered a sheaf of yellowed papers inside brown wrapping paper tied with a string. Partially in the interests of truth and science, but mainly out of my aroused curiosity, I hid the packet underneath my shirt and rejoined the group, trying to look interested in the guide's memorized spiel while waiting for an opportunity to abandon the rest of the group and get away to some place private. I was too excited about the contents of the packet I had discovered to pay attention to what the tour guide was saying, though, for I had taken a cursory glance at the contents of the package I had spirited out of the room, and it seemed as if this manuscript was quite possibly the product of Twain's own hand. On finally arriving back home, I sat down at my desk, opened the packet, and quickly ascertained that the sheaf of papers contained therein was indeed a manuscript handwritten by Twain and signed by him. And it was not just a long-lost Twain sketch or essay. It was a never-before-known-about or even rumored-about work. Not divulging until now just where it was that I came upon the manuscript, I have until this time led people to believe that I had found it among odds and ends at a garage sale somewhere in the Boston suburbs, the exact whereabouts of which I led on to have forgotten. I don't consider what I did in borrowing the manuscript to be wrong. After all, Twain has no living descendants. In such a circumstance, I consider the oft-repeated phrases, "Possession is 9/10 of the law," and "Finders keepers, losers weepers," to be ethically, or at least legally, applicable in this case. The way I see it, I have just as much right to the manuscript as anyone else does. Besides, as you will see in his comments at the beginning of this manuscript, Twain granted publication rights to whoever found the document, provided no family members or descendants of his were still living. Due to the fact that Twain himself describes the purpose of the manuscript in his own introduction below, I will leave it at that and allow you to dive right in, as I did, on discovering this historic document. First, though, let me say that Twain gave this manuscript the title, "The Turning Points of My Life," plural, but I have opted to view this as a working title only and changed the title to "Rebel with a Cause, Mark Twain's Hidden Memoirs." The reasoning behind this alteration is that Twain's chosen title could be confusing to people familiar with his essay, "The Turning Point of My Life," singular, which was apparently written just prior to his penning of this manuscript and was published in February 1910, 2 months before his death. I have roped my fellow Twain-esque Twainiac B. Clay Shannon into serving as editor of this volume. His contributions / caveats / explanations / expoundings and theorizings appear in boxes. Shannon also separated Twain's manuscript, which had no breaks in it, into chapters and gave those chapters titles in addition to numbers. Finally, Shannon segmented the manuscript into 4 parts, naming the final 3 after what he says seems to have been Twain's lifelong causes, namely justice, love, and truth. The events Twain chose to discuss in this, his final manuscript, are those that formed him as a person and informed his writings.